Hello and welcome back. My name's Tolly Bryn. This is Joy of Awareness. Today I wanted to talk about the importance of reclaiming your mind to be able to heal. And I have to say that I think this is probably the most important aspect of being able to truly heal from whatever it is that's ailing you. As you'll know if you've watched my other videos, my own battle with illness sort of centered around something called topical steroid withdrawal. Or, well, up until recently, I thought it did. But I just found out that it's just a label. Like most of these illnesses that we're labeled with, whatever it may be, arthritis, allergies, cancer, these are all manifestations of deeper root causes. And this is something that we need to realize as well. But I want to start this video off with a quote from a man called Terence McKenna. You may or may not know him. He was a famous advocate of psychedelics and wrote an awesome book called Food of the Gods. He took a lot of mushrooms, so beware if you want to delve down into that rabbit hole, but I'll start off this video with a quote from him. "Reclaim your mind and get it out of the hands of the cultural engineers who want to turn you into a half-baked moron consuming all this trash that's being manufactured out of the bones of a dying world." If there's anything that's being manufactured out of the bones of a dying world, it is modern medicine. It's the biggest pile of trash that you can find these days. It really is. And they seem to be making more and more and more and more. There's no end in sight. And, they're becoming more potent and they're becoming more useless, really. Like, I think that's basically the business model behind it. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's pretty much just how can we make a drug that helps with the symptoms of whatever illness it's supposed to help with, just enough so that people will keep buying, but will never ever remove the root causes behind the illness. And this is done simply because that's the way that you sell the most of the particular drug. In my own case, when it came to topical steroid withdrawal, the drug was obviously topical steroids. Those are drugs that are used for a variety of different illnesses. Topical steroids are mostly used for skin conditions, but then you have the oral steroids and the injected steroids. You even have steroid eye drops, like nose sprays and everything for like allergies and infections in your eyes and in your ears. Anti-dandruff stuff, they have like the steroid shampoo. And when I was growing up, ever since I started using these things, I thought they were fine. In fact, I thought they were a gift from God. And that's how we're raised in this society. It's funny, really. Or, well, it would be funny if it wasn't so sad. Like, we're raised to believe that doctors and the medical industrial complex, as I call it, the pharmaceutical companies, that these are people who know better than you about your own health. And in some cases, that may be true, and I think there's a lot of doctors that do actually know loads about health. But the thing is, being a doctor, knowing about health, obviously don't really go hand in hand. If you just go through medical school, the only thing you'll learn is, you will learn about the body, you'll know about the basic systems that make up the body, and you'll learn about all the molecules and the what do you call them, hormones and vitamins and the consequences of deficiencies and all kinds of stuff. But I'd venture to say that the majority of what you'll learn at traditional medical school will be what drug to prescribe when. And it's no surprise, really, because it's the drug companies that pay for all the medical textbooks, all of the field research, all of the technological, all of the computers and all the stuff that's used at school. And then even after you finished school, you're going out on business trips and re-education trips with pharmaceutical company missionaries, so to speak. Like they'll take you to a golf course, or they'll take you to the beach and take you to a fancy dinner, and then they'll tell you about this great new drug that's only being sold for like $19.99, and it just makes me sick. It really does. But at the same time, I'm trying to like remind myself that these are not necessarily bad people. This is just a strange sort of system of medicine that's kind of grown out of consumerist culture. I'm not going to say that all medicine's bad or that modern medicine is inherently evil. I don't think it is, but there is something very much wrong. And we need to take back our minds when it comes to this stuff, because that's the only way that we'll be able to figure out what really needs to happen physically and mentally for us to heal from whatever it is that's ailing us. In my own case, after having dealt with something called topical steroid withdrawal for many years, where I was just at the brink of self-destruction. Like, I wanted to kill myself. I felt so bad. And I'd been feeling so bad for so long, and all hope had gone. And it astounds me how simple the answers actually were. Like, it didn't... the answers weren't hidden in some kind of miracle new drug that had to come from Pfizer or Moderna or whoever's making all these vaccines these days. Like, no, it was a process that's inherent to the body, the human body, that everybody has access to, which is so incredibly simple and so incredibly powerful. In fact, I would say it's the most powerful tool for healing that anybody has access to. And the funny thing is, it's completely free. It takes absolutely no effort other than, well, I'll take that back. It does take a lot of willpower, especially in the beginning when you're breaking out of the ideological chains that have been binding you, and you're building up your own experiential, empiric model of health. When you're getting started with that, it does take some effort and it does take some energy. But at the same time, it's also just infuriatingly simple. It just means fast. Just fast. Stop eating. In some cases, stop drinking. Stop consuming. Takes us back to the quote that I had in the beginning of the video. We're consuming way too much. And that goes for drugs, be they legal or illegal. That goes for alcohol. That goes for television. Goes for all of the electronics that we have around us all day, and the podcasts and all of this stuff. Like, and I'm not trying to say that this is all bad and that it's all evil and you got to stop it all. No, I'm not. Definitely not. But there is such a thing as overconsumption of everything. And you know how they say everything in moderation, and I believe to an extent that that's true for most things. But the question is, what does moderation actually look like? Is what you think to be moderation, is that actually moderation, or is that excess? And I would argue that most of us have been living in excess of moderation for our entire lives. And it does make me sad, like, to think of this, because it would be easier if I believed that there was just like this cabal of evil, capitalists or like reptilian aristocracy or whatever it is that were behind all this. But what makes me sad is that it's not, I don't think it's any group of individuals or some evil head of state or whatever that's fueling this stuff. I just think it's an unfortunate series of events that's keeping us locked in here. The incentives for medicine shouldn't be the same as the incentives for all of the other products that we use, for the electronics, for instance. It shouldn't be about trying to sell the most drugs. I mean, I understand why that's the way it is. It's very logical, and it's probably very profitable as well. And it's probably quite easy also to convince yourself that you're doing a good thing, that you've created this drug that fights the symptoms of this disease. But what I think they either fail to realize, or they simply ignore, consciously or unconsciously, is that these are band-aids. And in some cases, a band-aid may be useful, but in all cases, you want to find out what the root is behind whatever it is that's bothering you before it becomes worse. And I'm afraid that that's what most modern medicine does. It puts on a band-aid, and then when it gets worse, it puts on a bigger band-aid. And it goes on like this until either you run out of band-aids or you die. Or, the symptoms become so bad that nothing works anymore. So this is something really to keep in mind. Keep scratching my nose, like I don't know if you've ever got this, like where your nose starts itching and you scratch it, and then a second later it starts itching again and you have to scratch it again. Don't know why that happens. Anyway, let's end this video here. I hope you got some value out of this. I want to tell you about one little thing just before I end it. I just released a book called Health Simplified, which I think will help you out if you're dealing with any kind of chronic illness, especially autoimmune illness. I go deep into my own story of autoimmune illness and what I did to overcome it. And it's no secret, definitely. Like, I've been talking about this in all of my videos. It's about fasting and a simple diet. That's the way I healed myself, and that's the way you can heal yourself. But it goes very much in depth into both the mechanisms behind healing through fasting, and also, I go a little bit conspiratorial in it. Like, I start diving a bit deeper into what's behind all this that I've been talking about in this video, like the dark underbelly of the medical industrial complex. So if you're interested in that, check it out. It's only $5. It's cheap, and it's a short read. It's concise, and I hope you like it. I'll put a link down below. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, obviously, and hope you find the health that you seek.